Hey, I want to introduce the person that's responsible for bringing me into the world. This is my mother, Pamela Janamazo. In a few minutes, you're going to get to hear her testimony of how these healing frequencies we've been talking about actually healed her from pancreatic cancer. Before that happens, I want to share a little bit from my end of the story. Years ago, I was in a church meeting in Ohio, and a man that was in the worship team with me said, "I just feel like you're supposed to unplug your guitar and put the headstock of it on this lady's abdomen sitting in the front row." And that's really random, you know. So not to mention awkward, but I did. I unplugged the guitar and I walked down the steps and stuck my headstock of my guitar in this woman's abdomen and started playing the guitar. And next thing you know, she's weeping, and I keep looking back to see if this guy's going to tell me it's okay to come back to the platform, and he's waving me off. And I played probably another 15 minutes or so, and then finally he said, "Okay, I think that's enough." And I came back and plugged back in, and we played another song. And then later when we were in the green room, I asked him, I said, "What was that all about?" I said, "Why was I playing my guitar with the headstock stuck in that lady's abdomen?" And he said, "She's healed." I said, "What do you mean she's healed? She's healed from what?" He said, "She's healed. She had Crohn's disease." And I said, "How did you know that?" And he said, "The Lord told me that she had Crohn's disease and that you were supposed to put the headstock of your guitar on it, and that God was going to tell you what to play and she was going to get healed." And this was all new to me. So about 2 weeks later, the pastor of that church called the ministry where this man was part of and said that young woman that man played his guitar over was completely healed from Crohn's disease, and we have the MRI to prove it. And that was the beginning of kind of this understanding that there's a whole lot more to frequency, what we say. Obviously, you know, when you speak something, love, when you speak love, if it's love, there's no mistaking it. You speak hate and you hate someone, there's no mistaking that either. And they do whatever they do. If you believe that there's frequencies that are in music that can heal, you have to find them first, which was interesting. I wanted to share this with you earlier on, and I forgot. It just came back to my memory. When I was in the studio, it wasn't like I had the understanding of all this locked in. It was like, oh yeah, this is how we're going to do it. It's bigger than people. And to be quite honest with you, what you're listening to right now started with me sitting with headphones on, listening to the frequencies that I had re-recorded. And somehow when I was listening to those frequencies, I could hear music and saying, "We're in here and you can have us if you come get us." It was the most unbelievable feeling to know that inside of this one tone there was all of this music, but somebody just had to push on a little bit past that place and grab this stuff and bring it out so people could hear it. So what you're listening to and what healed my mother are frequencies that don't exist in normal polyphony or normal music that we hear every day. Not in E or A or F or G, but somewhere between G and G sharp, and somewhere between A and A flat. In the in-between places we find these accurate healing frequencies that in one case healed a woman with Crohn's disease, and as you'll listen in just a minute as my mom shares, you'll find out exactly how God used those frequencies to heal her from pancreatic cancer.
Back in 2005, I had been in excruciating pain and been to several doctors and hospitals, and finally they diagnosed me with a mass on my pancreas. And I had 8 doctors around my bed telling me that they had never had a mass like that was not cancer. So that was a little disconcerting. My family was with me, and that was a good thing. And we prayed, and everything was, you know, as good as it could be. And they were going to prepare me for surgery. And so what happened after that was that I don't really remember all of the things that the nurses did and so forth, but I was ready to have surgery the following day, and I had been in the hospital probably 2 weeks by then. And Michael and Lillian were with me, and my daughter and my husband, and he said that, Michael said that he felt like the Lord would have him play his guitar over me. And I was more than willing. And so he did. And he said for me just to close my eyes, and I did, and just don't think of anything, just close my eyes, and he would play. So as I did that, I don't remember, I asked him how long afterwards that he played, and he said approximately 20 minutes. I don't remember that at all. All I remember is when I closed my eyes, probably 2 or 3 minutes after my eyes were closed, I could see this thing, this black, round looking thing with tentacles. And I just kept my eyes closed. And as he played and played, that mass that I assumed was what they had seen on their diagnostic tests in me is what I was seeing in my mind's eye. It began to fade. And it got less and less dark, less and less. And all of a sudden, everything went green. And it was the brightest green I ever saw in my life. And I said, I'm healed. And during this time, Michael had been playing the whole time. I didn't know what he was playing. I don't even remember. But he said he was going to play some key over me, or chord, I don't remember now. But he touched me every now and then with his guitar. I could feel the vibration a little. But other than that, that was it. And then the very next morning, I believe it was, all this is, from somebody that's going into surgery, so they had me, I guess, sedated. So I don't really remember a whole lot except what I was told later. My family was told that they could not retest everything, because we kind of wanted to know, can you do these diagnostic tests again? And they said, you're prepped for surgery, and surgery will be in a few hours. And so I said, if it's not cancer, would you still have to take out whatever it is? And they said, yes, nothing can be on your pancreas, regardless. But we've never had anything that wasn't a cancerous mass. So I'm thinking to myself at that point, I'm healed. I just knew it. But I went into surgery, and they told my family it was going to be, I think they said 4 hours, something like that. And this is what they told me afterwards, was that the doctor came out in an hour, running down the hall, and he was a Christian doctor. He had prayed with me before surgery. He said, praise the Lord, it's not cancer. And I knew what it was. The Lord had revealed to my son something to do for me. And I don't even think he knew what he was going to play or what it was going to do, but he knew that the Lord had told him, and I knew that if the Lord told him, it had to be good. And it took me quite a while to recover, but it was not cancer. Nothing has reoccurred. And even though they had to take out my spleen to get to my pancreas, and took out half my pancreas and my gallbladder, and I just thought they might just give me a zipper, But they sewed me up, and I healed, and I got to go home. I went in September. I got to go home November 7th and recovered, and this is 2014, and I've had no more problem with that at all. So, praise the Lord.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? 9 years ago. People talk about, oh, I was prescribed this medication and I was better for 12 months, or 20 minutes, 22 minutes plus minus of introducing a frequency, which isn't anything weird. A frequency is what your tongue creates every time it vibrates and you form words. That's all a frequency is. But 22 minutes of sustained frequency, 741 hertz to be exact. And my mother is healthy and happy, still a great golfer, and loves life, and is still walking every night, a mile or two. And I'm telling you guys, every time I hear that story, I'm blown away, and I'm so thankful that God gave me this little bit of information to let me stay with this person a lot longer. Very thankful.